Hey guys, Rick here. Thanks for joining me. It's a privilege, as always, to be a part of your journey. Today, I want to talk about discipline. Somebody walked up to me yesterday, well, didn't walk up to me, but I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they said that I'm very disciplined, which, of course, is a nice thing to hear, but at least in the moment, I didn't really agree with them. I was kind of like thinking, how am I disciplined? I just kind of do what I do. And they said that because I go to the gym 5 times a week. Like I said, it's not a hard thing for me to do. So it got me thinking about what actually is discipline and what does it take to have it. And it seems pretty clear that it's a kind of a subjective thing, right? We label somebody as disciplined based on them doing things that we think is hard to do, but valuable to do. Somebody who gets out of bed at 6:30 in the morning and, I don't know, works really hard and builds their business or something like that, that's a really good disciplined behavior to have. But, you know, that person they might love it. They might have these amazing habits in place, going to bed at 9 o'clock at night so they can get up super early, and they love it. They love building their business and they love doing what they do, and they don't actually have to drag themselves out. And that's kind of what I'm like when it comes to going to the gym and training. I actually hate not going. I travel a lot, and there was a period where I was really struggling to get to the gym frequently, and I hated it. I really, after a while, started to hate myself. My energy levels suffered, my sleeping pattern suffered. It was really, really crap. And I felt so much better when I started getting back to the gym regularly. So that's why I don't see myself as disciplined. I just see myself as doing the things that I do, behaving in the way that I need to behave to be the person that I set for myself. And that right there is what discipline is. It's behaving the way that we see ourselves and nothing more. It really isn't. So I think it's important for us to understand that. I treat myself the way that I see myself. That means I need to go to the gym because I see myself as an athletic person who's full of energy, who's full of life, who has confidence and is strong and is going to live a long, happy, healthy life. Therefore, one of the many behaviors that I have to have is regularly training and keeping myself fit and healthy. So yeah, it's just a behavior. It's just something that I do. I don't even really think about it. Sure, there are a couple of days here and there where I might have to sort of drag myself out. I'm not really feeling it. That happens, of course, all the time. But it's pretty rare, and I don't, because of that, I don't really see myself as being disciplined. And usually on those days I just don't go because I've just gone 4 days in a row or something like that. So it's really not a big deal for me. But that's the important point there. You treat yourself how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a fat, unhealthy person who's just really struggling to adapt or adopt any healthy behaviors, then you're going to treat yourself that way. You're going to eat crap, you're never going to exercise, and you're just going to get further and further spiraling down this hole, which perpetuates the way you see yourself as well, because our behaviors are our self-perception, and our self-perception are our behaviors. So people look for shortcuts. So they might go and spend hundreds of dollars on pills and powders that are almost always a complete scam. They might spend thousands of dollars on a surgery to lose weight and whatever. But even if they work, and let's say you get the surgery and you lose 50 pounds. The only way it's really worked is if you keep it off and you get to the healthy weight, because the surgery actually is only success. This definition of success for a surgery is, I think it's losing 50% of your excess weight, right? So if you've got 100 pounds of excess fat on you, the measure of success actually for surgery is for you to still be 50 pounds overweight. So you still got a lot of work to do to get to where you want it to be. And for you to do that, you still need to change your behaviors, right? You might get that surgery, but you still got to eat better. You still got to train. Otherwise, you're just going to put all that weight back on just like that. So it only works when you start to see yourself differently. So that could be the effective part of a surgery or something like that. You know, you look yourself in the mirror and you're liking what you see. You might be more confident in going to the gym when you're not as heavy or whatever it is, and your behaviors change, right? But it still starts here. It starts with your self-perception, and that's the only way it starts. There are 0 exceptions to this rule. If you want the life that you want, to get the life that you want, you need to change your behaviors. To change your behaviors, you need to change the way you treat yourself. To change the way you treat yourself, you need to change the way you see yourself. It always has to start there, and it will never change. Shortcuts might make it slightly easier, but you still need to go through this process. So you could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a shortcut, or you could do it for free. And that's what I'm proposing to you here today, because there are some really good exercises to start to change the way you see yourself first, so that you can start to behave differently and get the life that you want. And it really comes down to, you know, this stuff with manifestations, affirmations, assumptive meditations, whatever it is. This is why they're actually genuine and real and effective. And there's actually a lot of science coming out, where it's a very interesting time that we're in right now. There's a lot of science coming out that are starting to back it up. You know, people have been talking about manifestations and affirmations, etc., for decades, but it's kind of always felt a bit like a sort of mystical mumbo jumbo type thing. But there actually is now a lot of science starting to show what's happening when we do these things. And this is why it's effective. You are retraining your brain and the way that you see yourself, so that you can start to treat yourself differently, start behaving differently, and then finally, ultimately get the life that you want. And so the best exercise here is starting off with that last piece, the life that you want. Really understand what it is that you want out of life. I think we all have a very sort of, at least a very vague, basic understanding of what we want. You know, I want to, whatever, walk down the beach comfortably and confidently. I want to like what I see in the mirror, whatever it is, but really get vivid, get very prescriptive on the life that you want, on all aspects of life that are in any way, shape or form important to you. Relationships, finances, you know, the activities that you do, whatever. Just anything that matters to you. Really start to understand clearly what it is that you want out of life. And this will change, of course, but all that matters is understanding it today, where you want to go. And then, once you understand that, you can put yourself in that and really start to feel it. What does it feel like when I can walk down the beach confidently, not worrying about how I look and how other people think about me? How does it feel when I go out on a date, happy and confident that I'm presenting myself in the best possible way? How does it feel bringing the most attractive version of myself to my relationship and bringing passion and energy back into my relationship? All of these other things, right? Whatever it is that matters, just really, that allows you to step into that life that you want for yourself and start to imagine it and imagine how it feels and create it for yourself. The best time to do this is just before bed, and as you're going to sleep, starting to affirm this, and you're starting to imagine this life for yourself and manifest it. The reason for that is, I'm not even going to try to justify it with science behind it. There's a really good book actually called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, which explains all this sort of stuff in great detail. Or you could listen to his podcast on Joe Rogan from years ago, which also explains it in pretty good detail. Matthew Walker, Dr. Matthew Walker, Joe Rogan, Why We Sleep. And that'll explain why it's more effective to do this as you're falling asleep. Essentially, our brains are just much more effective at these sorts of tasks when we're actually asleep. But you can do this anytime. There's not really a bad time to manifest. Well, I guess you probably don't want to do it while you're driving down the highway or something like that. Might not be a great idea, but you know, if you want to do this 10 times a day, do it 10 times a day. It's just got a little bit more bang for your buck when you're doing it going to bed. That's my understanding of it anyway. And really start to put yourself in the shoes, because what you're doing there is changing your self-perception. You're rewiring your brain and the way that you see yourself so that you can treat yourself differently, behave differently, and then get that life. This is the really important thing. Because then when you start doing this and you start behaving differently, that's when you're disciplined all of a sudden. You know, you're being that person that you are right now thinking is so hard to be. But it's not. Like, it really, really isn't. I'm telling you from experience, I used to hate going to the gym. I really did. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't feel confident there. I was looking at all these other guys that were like massive, all these, you know, beautiful women. I was thinking, oh my God, they must think I'm such a little dweeb or whatever. Yeah, it wasn't a pleasant experience. I don't think about that at all now. I just think about the fact that I need to go to the gym because it's what I do. I feel whole. I feel better when I'm at the gym. Why? Because I'm just behaving the way that I should. That's my personality, that's my identity, that's who I am. Therefore, when I don't do it, it's weird. And that anybody can get in this headspace. Anybody. Sure, it's easy for me to see myself that way because I'm now in shape and I'm not like one of those buff guys or anything like that. But I do feel like I belong at the gym, and that's the important. That's important. But there's no reason that any other person on the planet can't get to that point. But it starts with here. Ending it there, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your journey again. If you have any questions about this, please drop them in the comments below. Maybe give us a like or a subscribe, that'd be great too. But yeah, if you have any questions, please drop it down. I love hearing from everybody, and being a part of your journey is just the biggest privilege I could possibly have. So thank you again, and I'll speak to you next time. Until then, keep crushing it.